A compiler operates in phases. A phase is a logically interrelated operation that takes source program in one representation and produces output in another representation. So you can see this from the diagram of the phases of compiler. As you can see, these are the six phases of the compiler, and the syllabus of your subject is based on this unit. As you can see, the first phase is lexical analyzer, and in the unit 1 is based on the lexical analyzer. The second unit is based on the syntax analyzer. The third unit is based on the semantic analyzer. So the first three phases um, uh, are are part of the unit 1, 2 and 3. Now the fourth unit is based on the intermediate code generation, and the fifth unit is based on the code optimization and the code generation. So these are the phases of the compiler, and you can see that a phase, this is the definition of phase, which is very important. A phase is a logically interrelated operation. A phase is a logically interrelated operation that takes source program in one representation and produces output in another representation. So there are two phases of compilation. First is the analysis phase, and the second is the synthesis phase. As you can see from the diagram, from the phases of compiler diagram, the first three phases are part of the analysis phase, whereas the last two phases, the code optimization and the code generator, is the part of the synthesis phase, and intermediate code generation is makes a uh, as a bridge for connecting the analysis and the synthesis phase. So in the analysis phase, which is also known as the machine independent phase or language dependent phase, and the synthesis phase is of machine dependent phase and language independent phase. So you can see there is a difference. If a phase is machine independent, then it must be then it must be language dependent, and the synthesis phase is machine dependent but it is language independent. So the compilation process is a sequence of various phases. There are basically six phases in the compiler, and each phase takes input from its previous stage, has its own representation of source code, and feeds its output to the next phase of the compiler. So every phase takes the input from the previous phase and gives its output to the next phase as the input. So you can see that the output of the lexical analyzer acts as the input to the syntax analyzer, where in the same way the output of the syntax analyzer acts as the input to the semantic analyzer, and so on. You can see that all the phases are connected to the symbol table manager, and also all the phases are connected to the error handler. So as you already use the compiler in C and C++ language, you will notice that the compiler task is to give you is to point out the error in the line. So every phase of the compiler gives a particular error, and also the symbol table manager's task is to place the identifier keywords in the proper memory location with their values. So let us discuss an example based on the phases of the compiler. Now this is the example. Um did you see the diagram clearly? This
हमारा टू
diagram,
सोर्ट
did you see this diagram clearly?
सर बहुत छोटा दिख रहा है सर, थोड़ा मुश्किल है पर देख रहे हैं।
I mean, this two.
सर इस टू शोट ऑन आर स्क्रीन।
This two.
यस सर, इस क्लियर क्लियर वापिस बड़ा हो गया सर, छोटा हो गया।
Did you see it clearly? Now, based on this, now the example based on the phases of the compiler. First, you can see that your program is just like this. This is basically the Pascal programming code. You will find it in various books of the compiler design. Now, the syntax the language syntax of the Pascal programming code is just like that. Position is equal to initial plus rate into 60, right? If we pass it in this string to the lexical analyzer, the first phase, so the lexical analyzer breaks it into tokens. Like position, you can treat the position as id1, means it is the identifier for that language. Like in C, you can we have the keywords like if, else, for, while, and there are some identifiers also. There are punctuation marks also. So we will see it in the lexical analyzer. So lexical analyzer converts it the string into based on the tokens. And in the token there are identifier, keyword, punctuation marks, and etc. So the position has been converted to id1, initial has been converted to id2, rate is converted to id3, and there is a number 60. Like then after after the lexical analyzer, this the output of the lexical analyzer will be the input to the syntax analyzer, the second phase of the compiler. So it passes to the it passes this string into the lexical analyzer, and from this, in the lexical analyzer phase, we convert this string to the parse tree, which I already studied, which I already told you in the theory of computation subject, how to make the parse tree, what is leftmost derivative, what is rightmost derivative. uh, all of you remembered it. So so from in the in the syntax analyzer or the parser phase, we convert this in the form of parse tree, like this. After that, we convert it into the after the output of the syntax analyzer acts as the input to the semantic analyzer. And semantic analyzer, you can see there is some difference, a slight difference between the syntax analyzer and the semantic analyzer. You can see 60 is there, which is basically a number. Now the semantic analyzer basically convert this into int to real, means int to float number. So there is a slight difference in the syntax and the semantic analyzer. The semantic analyzer does the language construct, or you can say that the type compatibility feature of the language, deals with the type compatibility feature. Then in the fourth phase, you can see there is the intermediate representation or the intermediate code generation, which act as the bridge between the analysis phase and the syntax phase. So in this, we can treat it as we can take it as a temporary variable one. In the temporary variable one, we store the int to real 60. In the temporary variable 2, we store the, if you can see that id3 into temp1. In the temporary 3 variable, we store id2 plus temporary variable 2. and id1 stores the value stored in the temporary variable 3. So by this we can get the intermediate code representation, and these representation is basically it, treated as the 3 address code. So every instruction like temp1, temp2, temp3 is also known as the 3 address code, which we are going to study in the third unit of your syllabus. Now the the code optimizer phase. Now the code optimizer task is basically to optimize the code. You can see the in the intermediate code representation there are 4 sentences to execute the program, and in it will take much more memory space and the time in order to execute the 4 sentences. But if we optimize this code in the more better way, then we can reduce the time as well as space, as well as memory space. So code optimizer task is to reduce the memory space as well as the execution time. So we convert the 4 line the program by the intermediate representation into the 2 line by the code optimizer. You can see in the temporary one we store the id3 into the float value, and in the next line we store in the id1 value the id2 value with summation of the temporary one value. So the code of the intermediate representation is optimized by the code optimizer process, code optimizer phase. And code generation is the last phase of the compiler design. And in the code generation the phase we convert it into the target machine code. You can see the target machine code. So in the machine code you can see the commands like move, like first mov move f uh, to id3 comma, like the value of the register 2 is stored in sorry the id3 is stored in the register 2, and with mul multiply f, like this the 60.0 value is stored in the register 2 where the id3 value already exists. So id3 into 60 is stored in the register 2. Now move the value of id2 in the register 1. Now add the values of the the register 2 and register 1 and move and store this addition value into the register 1, and finally move the register 1 value into the id1. Basically this code, this all code of the code generation like move f, multiply f and the add f is basically you will going to study in the microprocessor subject. Basically it's part of the machine language or the microprocessor subject. So this is how the all the phases of the compiler works in collaboration. Like the input of the phase of the compiler is like the input of the phase of the compiler is basically the output of its previous phase. Like all of you are getting it. So we discussed all the phases of the compiler. What is the task done by each and individual phase by taking an example, right? What lexical analyzer can do, what the output of the lexical analyzer as the input to the syntax analyzer. So these all we already discussed in that example, this example. Now proceeding further, the the phases of the compiler model is basically is also known as the analysis synthesis model, because because there are some analysis. I mean there are 3 phases which are doing the analysis part. Like it consists of the the analysis phase consists of the lexical, syntax, and semantic analyzer phases, whereas the synthesis phase consists of the code optimizer and the code generator phase. So this is the diagram for the analysis synthesis model. Like the source program will be input in the analysis phase. After that, intermediate code representation will be formed from the analysis part, and from the intermediate code representation, which act as the input to the synthesis part. After that, we get the machine code as the output. You also, the analysis part is also known as the front end of the compiler, whereas the synthesis part also known as the back end of the compiler. So in your exam, they can also ask the question of the analysis synthesis model of the compiler. So basically, you need to discuss the analysis synthesis model based on this diagram. And you can discuss with the analysis part, which analysis phase, which states the three phases of the compiler, whereas the synthesis phase states the two phases, code optimizer and code generation phase. The intermediate code representation act as the bridge between the analysis and the synthesis part. But in some books, you will also find that the intermediate code representation is also part of the synthesis phase of the compiler. But it's okay. Different books have different conventions. So basically, the intermediate code representation act as the bridge. So in some books it is it is placed in the analysis part, and in some books it is placed in the synthesis part. But it's basically the convention of the book, and it's basically act as the bridge. Now moving further, uh, this is the analysis part, also known as the front end. It reads the source program, divides it into core parts, and then checks for lexical, syntax, and semantic errors. In every phase of the compiler, there are some specific types of errors which we are going to study in our next lectures, like the lexical type of error, syntax error, or the semantic errors, which which are the part of every individual phase of the compiler. Now, the analysis phase generates an intermediate representation of the source program and symbol table, which should be fed to the synthesis phase as input. Whereas in the synthesis phase, which is also known as the backend, it generates the target program with the help of intermediate source representation and symbol table. Now, we are going to discuss each and every phase of the compiler. So basically, the phases of the compiler is a very broad question, and it comes in the examination of 15 marks. So you need to draw the diagram of the phases of the compiler, all six phases of the compiler, and then illustrate with an example which we already discussed, which I show it to position is equal to initial plus rate into rate plus 60, and then you need to discuss each and every phase of the compiler one by one in detail, in with all the six phases of the compiler, and the symbol and the task of the symbol table management, as well as the error handler. We are discussing each and every phase of the compiler one by one. Now, the first phase of the compiler is lexical analyzer. So basically, lexical analyzer, or we can, the other name of it is scanner, reads the source program one character at a time, separates the source program into sequence of automatic units called tokens. You can see this tokens. Some examples of tokens are keywords like if, else, while, for, etc. are known as the tokens, are known as the keywords. Uh, Identifier like num, id, etc. Operator like plus, minus, into, divide, less than, equal to, greater than, equal to, or the punctuation marks, like the brackets or the semicolon, and you can remember that in C program there are also tokens. So these are all parts of the token, like keywords, identifier, operator, punctuation marks are all part of a particular programming language, and this is basically the part done by the lexical analyzer. The output of the lexical analyzer is a stream of tokens. We already said it in our example. From lexical analyzer, we get the stream of token like ID1, then ID2, and ID3, which is passed to the next phase, which is basically passed to the next phase, like next phase, that is syntax analyzer. So lexical analyzer can be done by the following: by the regular expression, non-deterministic finite automata, deterministic finite automata, which you already studied in your theory of computation. In unit 1, like in finite automata, you already studied the regular expression, non-deterministic finite automata, deterministic finite automata. And here there is some other tools as well, specific to finding the lexical analyzer. uh, One of the most popular tool for finding the lexical analysis phase is Let's tool. Let's tool is basically the it's the acronym for lexical analyzer generator. It is very popular tool, and in your unit 1 we are going to study in detail the Let's tool. Now proceeding further, the syntax analysis phase. In this phase, expression statement in this phase, expressions, statements, declarations, etc. are identified by using the results of lexical analyzer. It takes the token produced by the lexical analyzer as input and generates a parse tree or syntax tree, which we already studied in that example. In this phase, token arrangement are checked against the source code grammar. That is, the parser checks if the expression made by the token is syntactically correct or not. Basically, here syntax error can be generated if the code is not syntactically correct. So it basically checks the code syntactically. The syntax analysis can be done by the following, like context free grammar, which you already studied in your theory of computation, the context free grammars, and how we generate the parse tree, the leftmost derivative, the rightmost derivative. So the context free grammar basic task is to get the syntax analysis in the compiler. And this is the most important part of the compiler design, as well as in your gate exam. Many of the questions in gate are comes from the parser, and the parser are basically divided into two types. First is top down parser, and the other is bottom up parsers. In top down parsers we have ll1 parsers and its family, and in bottom up parser we have basically three types of parsers: um, SLR simple parsers, then canonical LR parsers, and the look ahead LR parsers. We are going to study this in detail in the unit 2. In the unit 2, I mean unit 2, we are going to study the parsers. And this is the tool. YACC is the most popular tool uh, for generating the syntax and analyzer analysis, which is known as the YAP tool. And its full form is Yet Another Compiler. It is also in your syllabus in unit 2, and we are going to study it in the unit 2. All of you are getting it? All of you are getting it or not?
It's clear.
Okay, so proceeding further. So only 5 minutes are left. So we are moving it uh, in a faster mode. Now the next phase is semantic analysis. The semantic analysis states the parse tree or syntax tree constructed uh, follows the rules of the language. Basically, it deals with the semantic analysis. So, for example, the assignment of values is between compatible data types. For example, if we are taking the data type as int, so we cannot store the value like 5.35. So because 5.35 is the value which will be going to stored in the float data type, but we are taking the int variable. So if we are doing it, then semantic error will be generated. So basically, the semantic analysis produces an annotated syntax tree as the output. So if you remember the example which we already studied, it basically corrects the syntax tree generated from the syntax analysis. So here the syntax tree generated is of annotated syntax tree. Now moving further, and the next phase is intermediate representation. The intermediate representation acts as a bridge for the analysis and synthesis phases of the compiler. So the code generated from the intermediate representation are three address code, and we are going to um, generate this code by using the three types. First is quadruples, then triples, and indirect triples. So these are the types by which we can generate the three address code. Now proceeding further, the code optimization. So the code optimization removes unnecessary code lines and arranges the sequence of statements in order to speed up the program execution without wasting resources of CPU as well as memory. So we already discussed in that example that it reduces the memory space and it as well as the execution time of the program by correcting the code generated from the intermediate representation. So some popular code optimization techniques are common sub expression elimination, dead code elimination, loop optimization, people optimization, and there are other also optimization techniques available as well. We are going to study these in detail in the unit 5 of your compiler design syllabus. Now, proceeding further to the last phase of the compiler, which is known as the code generation. A number of optimizations to reduce the length of the machine language program are carried out during this phase. The output of the code generator is the machine language program of the specified computer. The output basically you can remember the output generated is of like move, null, or add instructions, which is basically the input to the assembler. So the code generation can be done by the following: code generation from DAT, which is known as the directed acyclic graphs, and code generation from grammar. Uh, we will going to study these in detail in the unit 5 of your compiler design syllabus. Thank you for watching this video. Um, any problem or any other question uh, you will find it difficult, or any queries are there? After this lecture you are going to attend the webinar. The link was already sent to you on Saturday at 11 a.m. The webinar will going to start on Google Meet, so you all will be going to attend this that webinar. Okay, thank you very much. Now, the next topic we will going to study in